Welcome to Barstool Bench Mob, presented by High Noon Hard Seltzer. We are back for another Sunday edition with Reags and Jake. How we doing, boys?
We're doing fantastic. The SEC Big 12 Challenge was a lot. It was fun. I'm sure Reags is a happy camper today.
I'm in a great mood. Listen, after last week, I'm in a much better mood this time around.
Yeah.
I have two goals here. One is to get Jake to call Marty a moron again, find out what trigger words we can use. And two is I'm just going to blow up Kentucky every time now.
I mean, let me tell you something. I think actually all of us, even though your team still sucks, but that was a good win.
Yeah.
3 wins, yeah.
I bet Syracuse yesterday. Duke, great win with the interim coach. I thought scared me a shit ton. But on this episode, we also interviewed Jim Larranaga, that guy who is just always beats Duke, and I let him know. And it was a wild weekend. It's always funny when I go on the Barstool Sportsbook app. It's just like
upcoming
at 11.
178.
Yeah, upcoming 178. It's like I'm going to be exhausted by the end of today, which I was. I'm sorry. I'm watching Providence.
Yeah,
minus 2.5, and they're up 2, and they're going to get
Jim Larranaga, the head coach of the Miami Hurricanes, he was cool. His Hurricanes, the top of the ACC right now, which I know doesn't make Marty too happy. We'll get to our love-hate beating the buzzer as usual. Our final January episode, which is crazy. Marquette just missed a layup. Providence shooting 2, up by 2 with 0.7 left.
0.7?
Yeah.
What a
doggy! Wow!
What a foul. You never get that. You never get the 0.7 foul.
Wow. Anyways, this is the live reaction of Marty. 0.7 left.
0.7 foul.
Missed the bunny.
Oh, the frustration. Holy shit, bag.
2 free throws.
Hit the free throws.
Marty needs one. Marty needs one. 65-63. First free throw. Misses.
Oh
Marty needs one more.
You asshole. If he misses this, bro, that's wrong.
Oh, no. Marty has minus 2.5. Providence up by 2.
Come on.
0.7 left.
He doesn't even care.
He missed it on purpose. He missed it on purpose.
Scumbag.
Oh, no.
He just missed that fucking on purpose.
He missed on purpose.
What the fuck? Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
If you're watching on YouTube, you can see how red Marty's face is. He missed the second free throw on purpose.
Having to bite my tongue because I had the game on and I was a little bit ahead of you guys. Not reacting to watching that, knowing what Marty had. That's absurd. Like, what the fuck? This is why college basketball betting is a grind, man.
I think the moment he missed the first one, you were screwed, right? Because it makes sense to miss on purpose, no?
Yeah, I mean,
with 0.7, you can't catch it and throw it the length of the court. If you're up 3, they can at least do an inbound and catch it at half court.
Literally just got a text from my friend. Wow, brutal beat on Providence minus 2.5. They're not live. We are live, but people aren't watching us. I'm getting text messages about Providence.
Seeing that scumbag's face, I'm gonna call Coach Cooley. I mean, what he went like this. Are you kidding me?
It makes sense. I know.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. You scored a point.
You can still lose.
Yes.
You can lose if you're down 2.
You have to score the 3 just so you are
worst case scenario
overtime.
Worst
case scenario. Yeah. Like if he gets that, I mean, didn't fucking was it Griffin on Duke? He scored in 0.6 seconds.
0.6.
Oh yeah.
That was 0.7. That scumbag. That was a live reaction on the box. I just lost my mind for a second.
Because that's start the show too. Like we're not 10 minutes in.
No, we haven't even done the intro yet. Wow, that's tough. I'm sorry,
bad.
Marty.
That's bad.
But yeah, shall we?
Yeah, fuck it. Let's get into the episode.
And here we go.
Okay, before we get into today's episode, every single week you know how we start this episode. We start with High Noon Hard Seltzer. I told you, I go out to my Green Rock bar on Thursday. I sit down and they have 3. I don't even say a word. I have 3 buckets of High Noon waiting for me every single time. It's the best. Everyone's like, wow, let me get some now because they don't think about it right away. You should be thinking about it all the time. High Noon Hard Seltzer, real vodka, real juice, presented by real people like us who love it. So go get it now. I saw some of your setups. It's fantastic. Send it to us. Reags, you have any high noons usually back where? Where do you live in? Ohio?
Yeah, I went out and I got like 6 boxes of watermelon and peach yesterday for the games.
I love those flavors.
My two go-to flavors. You
That's
can't go wrong with any of them, but those are my 2 go-to.
Watermelon, peach, fantastic flavors. Rest in peace, Rico, but he loves the black cherry. He's dead. He's a dead man. I mean, the guy talks to me for 45 minutes every day. I can't get him off the phone. Can't get him. It's so hard to get him off the phone. I literally made an excuse last night that I was going to make a frozen pizza.
He called me at 12:30 in the morning.
Called you?
The other day to talk about Big West basketball.
Oh my God!
Or Big Sky. It was Big Sky.
Yeah, that guy.
I literally got a "you up" text from Rico. I loved it. Like, I was so happy to see it. But
That's a guy
"you up"
who needs some high noons. But yeah, go get your high noon hard seltzer. It's real vodka, so it's real juice. You don't taste the nonsense of the aftertaste of like the other drinks. So go get your high noon hard seltzer.
All right. Reags, you know where we're starting off. It entered the day on paper as potentially one of the best games this season. Of course, when 2 blue bloods match up, it always has the potential with the Hall of Fame coaches, blah, blah, blah. It wasn't a great game because your Kentucky Wildcats, the number 12 team in the country, scored 80 points at Allen Fieldhouse over number 5 Kansas, 62. The first time that Kansas allowed 50 in the half since 2007. There were so many records left and right because of this game. Right. How are we feeling?
Awesome. I mean, Kentucky needed that win, right? Like, we talked about it last week a little bit where everyone was still like, okay, this team's good. Obviously, like, no one was disputing that, but they lacked that one win where everyone could be like, okay, on the road or neutral court against a good team. When they just went in and beat that game was over in 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, we got done there at 16. It's like, this game's an 8-point game all of a sudden. And I think the way they did it, where it wasn't like, Keon Brooks went up and got 27, but it was mostly 8 feet jumpers and in, 10 feet jumpers and in. It's not like they went 11 for 14 from 3 or something crazy like that. They didn't really shoot the ball great from 3. They were fine, nothing incredible. They just destroyed whatever Kansas. They had Kansas running a triangle and 2 like it was JV basketball.
Yeah.
And it still just got destroyed. I mean, I saw Kansas run at least 3 different defenses, and each time it was like, okay, like Kentucky's just going to take 15 seconds off the clock and then get whatever shot they wanted. So from that side, it was a huge, and the fact that they kept Agbaji basically doing nothing after he went for what?
13 points is nothing.
No, he went for what, 34 against
37.
Texas Tech or whatever, 37 against Texas Tech. And I mean, we talk about Texas Tech's defense being one of the best in the country. Kentucky, I think, needed that defensively too, where it's like, okay, now you have a couple guys that are getting confidence on that side of the ball. It was a perfect win. Not close. No one got hurt, which was step 1 of being a good team, like we talked about last week.
Yeah.
And then just they stepped on their throats. Like, the problem with Kentucky is they haven't stepped on anyone's throat really this year. They let teams kind of come back on them.
The biggest thing I got out of it was, the best thing was, Ty played, which is just good. Like,
huge,
to play.
The mental thing, yeah.
I mean, the huge thing is that he sucked, and they still beat the shit out of him. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't suck.
I don't think they played great, but
like, they still beat the shit out of him, and like Ty had 2 points. Like, he didn't.
He was 1 for 9.
Yeah, he was awful. That's always where the best thing is, where they can have someone step up. And fucking Shibwe, what is it again?
Shibwe.
I
have to say the T. It just doesn't
easy.
Kill me. It
2
kills
syllables.
me not to say the T. But him like pulling up those mid-range jumpers was fucking the other. Like, he had his shot fake for the rest of the game. The guy had no idea what to do. I forget who was covering him. McCormick.
Well, McCormick, he was pretty much out the second and a half, right? Didn't he?
Yeah,
they
basically played him off. Then they played KJ Adams.
Yeah, so like he made a couple of those shots, and then he would pump fake and just get an easy dunk or layup. Like, Shibwe could do whatever the fuck he wanted, and obviously Brooks played unbelievable. But I thought Shibwe, if he can make those shots, they're going to be a very scary team. When they already are a scary team.
It just opens up the floor, right? Like, if Shibwe can step out to 14, 15 feet, that means Wheeler has an open lane to get to the rim when he wants, because he's so tough to stay in front of. Same with Ty. But yeah, like you're right. Like the fact that Ty played was huge, just from the fact of okay, he's not seriously hurt.
Yeah.
Because it was like the way whenever you see an ankle roll like that, you're like, shit, he's never going to be right the rest of the year. And then they go and do it. Like you said, like I don't think they shot 33% from three. They only got to the free throw line 16 times. It wasn't like it was some flawless game.
Yeah.
They just beat the shit out of him. Like that's the only way to describe it.
No, that's it. And everyone was cooking too, because we talked about Shibwe and Ty maybe wasn't great, but everybody else. Kellen Grady's threes, that button hook route, that's crazy. He's just off balance at all times when it seems like he doesn't need to be.
Do you think he, not necessarily like percentage-wise, do you think he's the best shooter in the country? Like, he's one of those guys with that form, whenever he shoots, I'm like, that's it. He could miss by a mile, but I just think it's going in every time.
Yeah, I mean, I got to pull up the individual stats, but I don't know. I mean, the way he was shooting last night.
AJ Griffin might be the
Maybe
best.
yesterday, yeah.
I don't understand how AJ Griffin's shot is so weird. Like he's just like so wide, and he just makes every single
like what
shot.
you just said. Like it looks like he's always going to get. When AJ Griffin shoots, it does not look like it's always going in. But it's like when it goes, it's pure when it goes in. But like he fucking pulls up. And like yeah, his base is way too wide when he shoots.
It's like he's shitting, and then he just pops up to shoot.
It does. But yeah, Kentucky.
But yeah, I mean it's
Kentucky's like there for real. I think everyone knows that. It's just weird, I guess, from last year and all these blue bloods that kind of sucked last year, and now it's like, oh fuck, they're completely back. And Kentucky, like you said, they needed to step on Kansas' throat. Kansas, I'm not worried about Kansas. Like they kind of had an off night, but Kentucky didn't. I think again, what we've been saying, Kentucky not playing like they weren't lights out from everywhere, but they still beat the shit out of them, which is more impressive to me. So.
Yeah, and it's a huge win just for the fact that Kentucky has a path to a 1 seed now. Like if you lose that, you're kind of like blocked out of a 1 seed. They have a path now for a 1 seed.
And they easily could have beat Auburn last week. They stayed healthy. They were the better team when they were at full strength.
No. In
that short stretch, they were.
You can't say that. They played the game. They played the game. I don't know what. I mean,
They were up.
Ty sucked this game.
I think if they lost both their guards, they were in a good chance to win that game. I don't think you can dispute that.
I can dispute
the LSU game bothers me more, I think. Because I just don't like Auburn's for sure good. I don't think LSU that loss. That
should be
getting injured in that game bothers me more than Auburn.
Yeah, because Auburn, you can't really. I know what you're saying. I know, obviously, I'm an Auburn guy, but like, I understand that Ty was killing it. Obviously, you want to see him play the whole game, but Auburn is the number 1 team for a reason. Like, you don't know what's going to happen during that game, no matter what. I don't care what you say. I don't think you can predict that Auburn doesn't make that close or win still with him in. But you're right about the LSU.
The LSU one bothers me way more.
Yeah, because they're on a team that is just, they might just not be good.
No, they might
They
be.
just can't score.
I don't know, man.
We'll figure them out a little bit later. But yeah, Kentucky, largest road win against top 5 team in school history. I mean, they look like they have a number 1 seed chance, like you said, Reags. No Auburn round 2?
No, remember we talked about that last week?
Yeah.
It's so the way the SEC does it is you have rivals that you play home every single year. It's like Kentucky will always play Tennessee, Florida, Vanderbilt. Those 3, they always play home and home, and then it's based on the year, who you play where, and if you play them twice. It's like, can we just, for once, think of the fans. Like, can we just adjust the schedule in like December? Like when we know that Kentucky and Auburn are the 2 best teams in the conference.
Didn't the AAC work with that? They did like a tier thing. They like
it's the
Conference USA maybe.
The Conference USA does it for sure. The top 14, like in the last month, so it'll be coming up here soon. They switched to where the top 4 teams play each other, then the middle 4 teams play each other, the bottom. So you have better chance at quality wins, and they have a chance to get like 2 teams in the tournament.
Every conference should do that.
You should literally just drop Vanderbilt next game and play Auburn. Like, I don't care Auburn's playing. Like, we don't need a Vandy playing.
Yeah, like I guess we only play Kentucky or South Carolina once. Yeah, drop Vandy. Like, be like, all right, it's a home game. Like, just don't let Vanderbilt in.
Yeah.
What if they just say no? You're not allowed.
They're probably all right. You're right. We don't deserve to be.
What's Jerry Stackhouse going to do?
Vanderbilt's not the worst team though. They're 11-9.
Goodness.
Mizzou, Ole Miss, and Georgia below them. But yeah, congrats to Reags in Kentucky. I know Big Cat put a future on them a few weeks ago too, so he's probably very happy as well.
I jumped on them when they fell to 30-1 back in late December.
I think Big Cat got 25.
I feel great about that now.
Yeah, I think it cut in half. But yeah, so that's a big one. The other marquee game, or one of the other marquee games of the SEC Big 12 Challenge, in Tuscaloosa, Alabama 87, number 4 Baylor 78. I think Big Cat's shirt idea might be short-lived.
No, I don't. So, yes, obviously they're not going to go to the NIT. I think that with these 3 wins, it's going to be even kind of hard for them to, it's still this. They just, I don't fucking know, man. You tweeted it. They could win the national championship, but they can also maybe not make the tournament or lose in the first round. It's simple, though. I think it's very simple. They play to their competition. If they play if they're like a 4 seed and they play a 12 seed, they can very much lose. I don't know. You could see how much talent they have in their guards. Like J.D. Davidson late in the game was great. Quinterly was awesome. Yeah. Shackelford we know is awesome, but I don't know. You see against Georgia and fucking Missouri, they look shitty. I don't know. I don't think anyone can actually know what to say about Alabama, or besides saying I have fucking no idea what they're gonna do.
It's weird. They have you could argue they have the 3 best wins of anyone in the country, beating Baylor, Gonzaga.
They beat 3 of the 4 Final Four teams.
Yeah,
and they might have the 3 worst losses of a top 25 team when they lost to. I mean, pick between Iona, Memphis, and then Missouri and Georgia. I don't get it. And their schedule coming up, they play Auburn and Kentucky their next 2 games. Then they have Ole Miss, Arkansas, Mississippi State. Then they have Kentucky again.
Yeah.
So they have 3 games in the next 6 or so, where it's they could, if they went off, they could easily win 2 of those 3, and I wouldn't be surprised. Or they could get smoked in all.
They're gonna beat Auburn or Kentucky, then lose to Ole Miss.
100%.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I don't.
100%. Ole Miss on the road. Yeah, I'm. Can I get a line on that right now? Because I will.
Right now, Ken Palm has as an 8-point game.
Yeah, I'll take Ole Miss +8.
Yeah, 1,000%. I mean, it's no one could sit here saying they know what's going on in Alabama. You can't. I won't believe you because, like we said, they can do it. Nothing surprises me anymore because I bet Alabama. I loved them yesterday. At home, and it's who knows, man? They're fucking crazy.
Quinterly was awesome.
He was really.
He had
really
20. He just seemed like he was dictating everything in that game.
When he gets going, that's when that team really becomes.
I agree. I think I think you usually know Quinterly, Shackelford are going to be pretty good. They're going to give you most of whatever Alabama gets. But I do think their X factor is J.D. Davidson. I do think when he has the confidence and he's shooting threes, it helps them a ton because you know what you're getting from the other 2.
So the last 3 games. Sorry, Reags. The last 3 games before this one, he was in the starting lineup, and I think they put an Oates clip from a pregame press conference or whatever saying he's got to find the right guys, and that's on him, whatever. Davidson came off the bench here and did well. He still played 26 minutes, but he scored 14 points. Gary, 15 points off the bench. It helps.
I was going to say Keon Ellis is another guy like that, just because he's that weird kind of size mismatch that shoots a shit ton of threes. If he's making shots, then you just draw the defense out, and then that's when Alabama's flying around. But it's we keep saying with them, good luck. I don't know. Are you gonna? If I gave you right now, Marty, and said Alabama's going to be a 4 seeder and play a 13, Conference USA champ. Let's say they play, I don't know, UAB. Do you think if I said I'll give you UAB plus
in-state rivalry?
True. I didn't think about that. But let's say UAB plus 8.5, 9 on a neutral court and then state tournament.
I'm in.
Right now, right?
Yeah.
You take that, right?
But if they're an 8 seed and they win the first round, they play a 1 seed.
They're going to beat.
So it's
whoever.
They actually might need to lose a couple more games to get a fucking shittiest seed, so they don't play in one that bad.
I kind of want them to see him get a 1 seed somehow and just lose to a 16 seed.
Yeah.
I will say, with the whole way the bracket's constructed, you're not allowed to play a team you played this season until the Sweet 16, so they're ineligible to play Gonzaga or Baylor until the Sweet 16.
And
they're both 1 seeds.
And Auburn or Kentucky. Because Auburn's going to be a 1 seed probably.
Right.
If Kentucky gets there, they won't be. They play them twice already.
Right. I think they can override that. I remember that year the Big East had 11 teams. I think Marquette had to play a Big East team in the second round.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, most likely they can't be in that 8-9 slot if there's Kentucky, Auburn, Baylor, Gonzaga. Rico blew up our group chat from Benchmark. They went up by 15, like 8 straight elephant gifts.
Gifts and him. I don't even know where he's getting them from. It's like, what?
Yeah. So I don't know.
He's so delusional though. Like he still thinks like they're like he thinks he's right still, and he's just not right. You can't just immediately say Alabama's good now. It's like they still lost to really really fucking shitty team.
Yeah, they're the most volatile team in the country. You just have no.
That's literally a team.
They're gonna do.
It's weird. It's like as a fan, if you're a fan of Alabama, it's probably one of the most frustrating things. But like that's a team I do not want to play in the tournament though. Still. Because you just don't know. You just don't know.
Yeah, like if they're a 5 seed, you're terrified if you're a 1 seed. Sweet 16, like potential Sweet 16 game against a team like Dixon beat 3 Final Four teams from a year ago, 3 top 6 teams in the country right now.
Yeah, they have 5 wins versus ranked teams, tied with Marquette for the most in the nation. Snapped Baylor's 36-game winning streak versus non-conference opponents. It's tough to figure out, and like you said, Reags, Auburn and Kentucky next. They want revenge for Auburn on Tuesday night. Like, why can't they win that game? I don't know.
Yeah, like why? There is probably reasons why they can't, but it's also Alabama so they can. Like it's just everything we've said. Like I can do nerd out as much as possible about schemes and everything with it, and just. It does not matter with this team.
Yep.
It just doesn't matter.
Like Tuesday night, Marty. Right now, Ken Palm has it as an 8-point game at Auburn. Would you be stunned if Bama won?
No, not at all.
But I wouldn't be stunned if they lost by 25.
Yeah, they're playing Tuesday.
Yeah, at Auburn.
Yeah.
Oh God. I mean, in my head, I think I still want to take Auburn because if Alabama lost to Baylor, I'm going to Alabama. You know what I mean?
Yeah, potential letdown spot.
Yeah. I mean, Auburn has just been – because I hate when people say shit, man. Like, they're like – I tweet about Auburn being the best in the country, which they just simply are. I don't know what to tell you.
Right now they are, yes.
I'm not even just saying because they're number one, because there is number ones that aren't the best. They're like, oh, well, they barely beat Missouri. Like, bro, they've won – and, like, that just happens. Like, it's on the road. Like, it just happens.
The game after Kentucky.
Yeah, they lost. You can tell me. But they barely winning is bad now. Like, I fucking hate barely winning people because that's the worst.
Especially this year. Like, this year, we've talked about it. It's wide open. There's so much parity this year. It's wide open.
Dude, that was the first time they were number one in the country ever in the program. And they played Missouri. Yeah. They're not exactly like, let's go. Sorry, Jake.
Yeah, you're going to Columbia to play in front of, like, 700 people because no one shows up there.
That was a lot of Missouri slander for you. Just
they chanted overrated after losing. Missouri chanted overrated after losing.
That was so weird.
That's what your fans are doing,
Jake. That's the state of their program.
Whatever.
Overrated when they lost? It's like, what are we doing here?
You only beat us by 1. You stink.
Rico actually texted me yesterday, too, to show how bored he was.
Guy, man.
He goes, your Tigers fucked me yesterday. And I said, you're betting on Missouri basketball? He goes, Iowa State frauds. I'm like, apparently not. And he said he bet him second half, and the line was 11. They lost by 17. It wasn't even close.
Fucking guy needs to get a hobby.
Auburn, meanwhile, they smoked Oklahoma. Also, Bruce Pearl got the contract extension for life, is what they call it.
Oh, yeah, I wanted to talk about that.
Like a fiddle. It's a smart thing. Any coach does that.
Auburn, Coach Pearl should call Chris Mack being like, thank you for just leaving because, like, I was not even thinking about it, not even close, and just rumors got me a lifetime deal. Auburn could suck right away next year.
Because I saw people linking him to Maryland. He should be calling both of them, be like, just thank you.
Oh yeah, he definitely should. It's like, hey, and he should thank Jabari Smith, being like, dude, thanks for being the number 1 pick. Like, we might suck next year. Like, thank God you were here, because it just all lucked out for him. Now they're with him forever. I love Bruce Pearl, honestly, but good for him. He's locked up for life.
I will say, like, I should hate Bruce Pearl from like his time with Tennessee and obviously at Auburn. I just can't. Like, I find him he's a hell of a coach. Like, you can't dispute he's an awesome coach. He's always just sweating on the sidelines. Like, I find him hilarious. And then this was a power move. This is a power move by him to use like these job openings and lock up 8 years, $5.5 million a year, something like that.
Yeah, 8 years through 2030, but says he'll remain with the program for life.
It was pretty funny that Alan Green, who tweeted the video, the athletic director of Auburn, tweeted, and Jabari Smith goes, he knew what Auburn Twitter would have did to him if he did. So it's very funny.
Yeah. The thing that's crazy to me is he is now making more annually than Auburn football coach Brian Harsin. An SEC school. Auburn won a championship in the last decade, right? Was it 2010? 12 years or whatever? Like, it's Auburn football, the SEC, and now Bruce Pearl, the basketball team, is making more than the football coach.
Oh, I know.
But they have a better chance to win in basketball than football now. Like,
yeah,
they
do. I think we talked about this, where the SEC is like, we already know the money we're getting in the SEC, like, and it's football. Let's move it to college basketball right now, where we can get that much more money. And the SEC being relevant besides Kentucky is awesome, and that's huge. Good for them. And I think I don't know if we told you this, but LSU, Will Wade was like, hey, like when Kentucky sucks, like last year, the SEC was still pretty good, but no one really thought the SEC being that good because Kentucky sucked. But now when they're good, but now it's starting to get like, if Kentucky isn't that good, we don't really care anymore, you know? So it's just cool to see.
Right.
Yeah. And then one last thing with Baylor, does this concern you guys? That's 3 losses in the last 2 weeks?
No, I mean they didn't have a Kinjo for
right. Meyer had 3 fouls in the first 10 minutes.
I don't think Baylor's like Baylor is a top 10 team, but I'm not like I could see them. I wouldn't be surprised them losing early in the tournament, like a Sweet 16 or like the round 32. I don't know.
Yeah, Cryer was out too.
You think they're a top 5 team, honestly?
Yeah, I think they're the best team in the Big 12. Like I would have them above Kansas still, above Texas Tech, above Texas.
I'm a Texas Tech guy. I fucking love Texas Tech.
They're all like it's just so hard to buy into that offense long. Like yeah, I agree, they're good.
It is.
I trust Baylor more. And like you still look at like what they've done. They still have wins over Michigan State, Villanova, at Oregon. They already won at Iowa State.
It definitely doesn't concern me, the loss. It doesn't concern me.
No, it's a loss to an Alabama team who's already beat, like we said.
They're desperate. They needed that one more than that, I feel like.
I mean, Alabama's, what, 10-1 at home?
Right. They only lost to Auburn, right?
Yeah, they're one true home loss.
10-1 at home, so it's like, it's obviously a factor.
Yeah, so that's Baylor. And then the other big game in the SEC Big 12 Challenge, I believe it was 6-4 SEC?
Yeah, 6-4.
Yeah, Reek also said like something along the lines of I forget, but obviously he's an SEC guy. He said, am I crazy or is SEC dominating this challenge? 6-4.
It's like one game over 500.
Good thing Missouri, Iowa State happened the way it was or whatever.
Yeah,
or else it would have been 7-3. Anyways, Texas 52, number 18 Tennessee 51. The return of Rick Barnes. Ugly game. They almost stole this one. It was a 16-1 run to end the game, and they still lost.
I know. It's like, what the fuck? I mean, though, Texas needed this win. Needed it. Like they really did. Yeah, I mean, we've talked about Texas. It's like Marcus Carr. What are you doing? I don't know what he's doing.
What's that whole team doing, though?
I don't know.
Just don't get it.
Like, look at the starting 5. 4-9-4, 18-3. Like, what? This is not what I just don't get them. They're supposed to be good. And Tennessee is disgusting to me. I hate watching them.
I can't watch Tennessee play. Their offense is so bad.
And
Like, it's not
Fulkerson's
even
still coming
fun
off
to
the
watch.
bench. Like, he stinks.
Yeah, we've had this discussion like 4 weeks in a row.
It's the same discussion we have, is that these two teams are not as good as that they should be. That's pretty much what.
Fulkerson played 16 minutes and had 3 fouls.
that's always a tough thing.
Yeah.
He had more fouls than points.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, I don't know. I don't think Texas knows what the hell they are yet.
No, they
we
don't.
talked about it a little bit last week with how many transfers they have and a brand new coach. I don't think they know who their best player is or supposed to be. I don't think they know who's they want to run the offense through. He's been tinkering with lineups and rotations.
They don't really have a resume either. I mean, this is
No,
their
they
best
lost. Yeah, I mean they lost to Gonzaga, lost to Seton Hall. And then they just played a bunch of nobodies.
Their other good wins are TCU and Oklahoma. And that's the only other teams. I guess West Virginia maybe.
That's what I was saying.
At
They needed
Kansas
this win.
State's okay.
They needed the win for the resume. They're still fine, obviously, but they needed this.
You get a home win over Tennessee. The metrics will always say that's a top
Right.
Yeah.
30
Something
win or something.
that I heard from the broadcast that I thought was worth mentioning. Under Rick Barnes, Texas won 19 NCAA tournament games. They haven't won one since he left.
Yeah, it's nuts.
When did he leave? 8 years ago?
He left. Pull up the exact time he left here. He left after the
2015.
14-15 season, yeah.
Yeah. And they haven't won a game since in the tournament. He won 19 games with them.
Kind of fitting he lost his very first NCAA tournament game that year as his last year in Texas. They lost to Butler.
Tennessee, I told Big T in the office, I'm not going to believe in them unless they win a big road game.
Yeah, you can't.
I'm not going to believe in them until they can score more than 50 points.
Every game they're in is under 60 points. It's crazy. Their offense is trash.
Yeah, I mean,
They can't do.
I'm almost gonna make a rule we can't talk about Tennessee anymore
until they do something.
because it's just the same
worthwhile.
thing. We have the same thing. It's they're just not that good.
Well, here they have a pretty soft schedule. They have A&M, South Carolina, Mississippi State, Vanderbilt before Kentucky.
Yeah, no, exactly. They're gonna win all those, so everyone's oh, Tennessee's good.
But if
Then
they can beat Kentucky at home,
Yeah.
maybe.
maybe they have to be. Yeah, that's something you have to do, but I don't know.
Yeah, they'll be 16. Well, they'll be 17-6 and 8-3 in the conference before that Kentucky game.
Yeah.
So I could definitely see people overreacting just looking
Oh
at
yeah,
that.
it's Tennessee's playing great. Well, they're playing dog shit.
That Arizona win in December is going to go a long way in terms of their seeding. They're going to be a 4 seed instead of a 6 seed just because of that game.
Because of that. Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, a home win over Arizona.
right. Yeah, so those are the marquee games. We'll touch on the other ones in our Beating the Buzzer segment, but for now, let's get into our interview with Miami head coach Jim Larranaga. Before we do that, we want to remind you this podcast, the Barstool Bench Mob, is brought to you by Sling TV. Go to sling.com/Barstool to sign up now and get your first month starting at $10. If you love watching live sports but you're tired of the high prices, it's time to take control of your TV experience. It's time you got Sling. Sling is the best place where your favorite sports channels like ESPN, FS1, TNT, and more come together for less, and it's the cheapest way to watch college hoops, the NBA playoffs, the entire Formula One season, and more. Plus, watch past episodes of the Barstool Bench Mob, Yak, Stool Streams, and exclusive new Barstool content for free on the Barstool Sports channel, exclusively on Sling. Sling is easy to set up, easy to use, and there's no contract, starting at just $35 a month. Sign up now and try it absolutely free for 3 days, whatever you're into. Sling is where you can find the live sports you love all in one place. So go to sling.com/Barstool to sign up now and try it for free. All right, here he is, the head coach of the U, Jim Larranaga. All right, we want to welcome on a very special guest. He is the head coach of the Miami Hurricanes, Jim Larranaga. The Canes 16-5 overall, 8-2 in the conference, which puts them in first place in the ACC. So, Coach, you guys are in a good spot right now. As we mentioned, top of the conference. Your only 2 losses since Thanksgiving weekend are 1 point each to Florida State. What's the vibe in the locker room right now? It must be pretty good.
Oh, I think our guys are playing with a lot of confidence. They're really enjoying playing with each other. And we use the expression that you got to trust each other. And they're really trusting each other on the court, because we've been in a lot of tight games, and you really need to pull together in those tight moments.
Yeah, Coach, you have been a pain in my ass for a really long time now. I'm a Duke fan. I mean, Coach K was Miami was 1-15 before you got there against Duke, and now they're 7-7. So really appreciate you making my life hell, because you guys, every single time we play, it's close. I mean, even this year, you beat us like at Cameron. How is that like? Going into Cameron, did that get your guys going a lot as well, like beating Duke after they were on a roll?
Well, let me begin by saying Coach K is the winningest coach in college basketball history. He is the master and the legend, and I respect him, and what he's done at Duke has been absolutely phenomenal. I think because it's Duke, every college basketball player that plays against them, it's a special opportunity for you to earn respect, not only within your own league, but nationally. Mm-hmm. And when we played Duke, they were the number 2 team in the country. Going into Cameron is a legendary arena and a very, very special place. The Cameron Crazies, I mean, they camp outside the arena before the game, like for days. It's my understanding for their last home game, you got to pass a test.
Yep.
To actually even get a ticket to get into the Cameron. So when we went there, though, we had already 4 straight home games. We won all 4 ACC games. We went into the game with a great deal of confidence. And, of course, Duke is always confident because they got so many good players and a great coach. And it always comes down to, a possession or two. And had Trevor Keels made that last shot, I probably wouldn't be talking to you today. But
let me ask
Cam McGusty made the shot. Trevor missed one. We recruited Trevor. I love him. He's a an NBA one and done type guy. So he could have easily made that shot. There would have been a different storyline. But Cam made the shot, and we win, and that kept us undefeated in the league. And again, our confidence was high, but in the ACC, everybody is really good. Right now, I can't believe I'm saying this. It's an underrated league.
Yep, my guy. That's what I'm saying.
It's the best league in the country, but now it's an underrated league.
Coach, I've been telling these morons the ACC is good this year. Everyone's like, oh, it's down. No, everyone's beating each other. It's tough out there.
Well, you look at, Kentucky just beat Kansas, right? What was the score of that?
Let me tell you, because I'm a Kentucky grad. So
okay, what was?
It was a 20-point win, and it wasn't close the entire time.
Yeah, but what did Kentucky do at Notre Dame earlier in the year?
Oh, fair. Coach, attaboy.
So all I'm saying is, in college basketball, there's a lot of parity.
Right, this year especially.
Cal is a very good friend of mine, and we have a very close friend, the two of us, in Dr. Bob Rotella. Do you guys know that name? The sports psychologist?
I do not.
He works with all the top golfers.
Okay.
Anyway, so I speak to Cal, and, they got a heck of a basketball team. But on any given night, it may sound like a cliche, but it's very, very true. Depending on your team, how you play that night against the opponent, and this is what I'm referring to, your team might be great against man-to-man and bad against zone.
Right.
Or you might be great against zone because you got a bunch of your shooters, but not very good at handling pressure. Every time you play in an opponent in the ACC, you're seeing a different style of play. When you play Virginia, you got to face that packed defense. When you play Syracuse, you got to face Jim Boeheim's 2-3 zone. When you play Leonard Hamilton's Florida State Seminoles, you got to play against a pressure defense with 4 7-footers trying to block your way to the basket.
Yep.
You mentioned parity this year, Coach, and I want to ask you, is it mostly due to how much of, you look at your team and you have a lot of older seniors, right? Charlie Moore's been around for, this is his 6th year, I believe. You have Sam Wardenberg, you have Cam McGusty. That free COVID year, or the free year because of COVID with people able to return, is that playing the role into parity this year, you think, or is that just it happens every a few cycles. Like 2020 felt like a very open year in terms of the NCAA tournament. Obviously canceled. You go back, 2014 was kind of the same way. It is cyclical, but is that really playing a role into this year?
I think there's a lot of factors, and people can have various opinions about what's creating this. But in my mind, there's several categories for the ACC. Number one, we're the league that loses the most talented players to the NBA every year. And this is a number, it's off the top of my head. Over the last 10 years, we've lost 110 underclassmen to the NBA.
That's crazy.
The next closest is like 72. And of those 72, 40 of them are Kentucky.
Right.
So let's review this. Okay, the first thing is the ACC is losing the most underclass talent. The second thing is now there's transfers that can transfer in anywhere because they can play right away. So there's a lot of older guys transferring, looking for more playing time. So the ACC actually loses a lot of guys to transfer. In fact, I believe the number is there's 57 new players in the ACC. We got no, it's more than that, actually. We're averaging about 5 new players a team. That's a lot of new players that you got to fit into your rotation and figure out if they're freshmen, if they're transfers, or if they're guys who are returning. When you have guys returning, we had a bunch of guys who could have returned that left. 4 guys could have returned. They all left. Well, I didn't know they were leaving until after the season was over. They didn't know they were leaving. Yeah. So there's a lot of inconsistencies and uncertainties that go into building your team for this coming season. We were very fortunate. We have 3 terrific freshmen, and we have 2 outstanding transfers in Charlie Moore and Jordan Miller, who not only are starting, but fitting in beautifully, averaging double figures, and really enjoy playing with our returning guys.
Walk us through that half-court buzzer beater the other day from Charlie Moore. What went through your mind when that one went in at Virginia Tech?
Yeah, I like those. Those are fun.
Those are good ones.
If I was fast enough, I would have run with the guys in the locker room.
I was going to say, I didn't see you getting into the tunnel with them right away. I saw you coming up a few minutes behind afterward.
Yeah, it takes me a while to. But here's what I would tell you. We've been in a lot of these close games, and every circumstance is different. You can't just look at the previous game because, as I said, the opponent is different, their style of play. And so I guess, I don't know, 4 of the last 5 games, it's come down to like the last possession. Against Duke, we had to stop a game-winning shot. At Florida State, we had to stop a game-winning shot and ended up fouling a player who made 2 free throws. We lose. And then we beat Syracuse by a point. And then we have Florida State coming to us. But the difference is against Florida State, we had to take the ball out the length of the court from the corner. And Florida State is so big, they make the inbounds pass so difficult that it's just harder to get it to the right guy at the right time with him having enough space to work with. But when we played Virginia Tech at Virginia Tech, we were begging the officials to tell us how much time and where are we taking it out. And they were trying to figure out the time, so they were distracted. Finally, we were told we're taking it out on the sideline right in front of the bench. If anybody noticed, I waved down to Mike Young and said, "Back up, you're in our way." And Cam McGusty is our guy who inbounds the ball. So at the timeout, we told Sam Wardenberg, listen, you screen for Charlie Moore. Charlie, you try to catch it on the dead run. Cam, you try to find Charlie wherever you can, because the score was tied. If he could have gotten it, much closer to the basket, I'm sure he would have. But he caught it like right at midcourt. We sent Isaiah Wong to one corner and Jordan Miller to the other in case Charlie couldn't get the ball, those guys could have sprinted back to catch and then turn and shoot at the last second. But Cam got it to Charlie, and so much so in planning, Charlie asked for it to take the last shot. He went to my assistant coach, Bill Courtney, who recruited Charlie. Bill had worked at DePaul prior to coming to Miami, and Charlie went to him and said, "Hey, give me the ball." So Bill Courtney said to me, "Hey, Charlie wants it." So it was just a matter of, okay, how do we get the ball to Charlie on the dead run so he has a chance to hit a runner? And then he banked it in, and it was bedlam. Our players took off running. But Charlie's too fast. They couldn't catch him.
It was so funny watching them all go after him. He was very fast, and they were like, holy shit, we got to get him.
How many players have you had like Charlie who go to either yourself or to an assistant and say, I want the ball, with the game on the line? I assume you have a couple each year, but are there any that really stick out, whether it was George Mason or at Miami prior?
Well, what normally happens is my staff and I already know who we want with the ball. So we played Illinois in the NCAA tournament in 2013. And it was like, I don't know, maybe it was a 1-point game. We were down, and they called a timeout. And as the team was coming to our bench, I stopped Shane Larkin. And I said to him, "Hey, what do you want to do?" And he said, "Hey, just give me the double high ball screen and let me make the decision." I went to the team huddle and said, "Look, we're going to put the ball in Shane's hand, give him the double high ball screen, and let him make the decision." That was it. Shane stepped back and hit the three, and we won the game. A few years later, a few years before, at George Mason in 2011, we played Villanova in the first round or second round of the NCAA tournament. And Villanova was, I believe, either up 1 or up 2 with like 28 seconds to go. And I call it timeout, as the team came over, and he's now a TV personality, Luke Hancock.
Yep.
Yeah.
Was on our George Mason team. He was a sophomore that year. As the team approached the bench, I stopped Luke at midcourt. And I said, "Hey, what do you think we should do?" This is what he said: "Give me the ball and give me the double high ball screen. Let me make the decision." So that double high ball screen has worked for us very well. It's exactly what by the way, Luke Hancock drove to the basket. They shut him off. He backed up to get behind the three and buried a three for the win.
That's unbelievable.
Angel Rodriguez did the same thing when the University of Florida, we were at Florida in 2015, I think. 2016. No, 15 or 16. They had a 32 or 44 home game winning streak. We ended Duke's and winning streak and Florida's winning streak the same year. So I can't remember who had 32 and who had 44.
Good
Angel
stuff.
Rodriguez, he liked that double high ball screen too. He stepped back and hit a three for the win.
Well, I guess now if we know it's a tight game in Miami, last possession, we know the play call.
Yeah, if Duke's better be listening to the
call it.
podcast. Yeah.
The player is the one that calls it. He decides what he wants.
I swear to God, if I see a double high screen, whatever you just said against Duke, I'm going to lose it. I'm going to tell them, I'm going to send them the tape of this.
So last week, rewinding a little bit, home game against Florida State, you guys almost come back from, I believe it was 26 points. Our boss, Dave Portnoy, he was courtside. Were you aware of that at all? And do you have any pizza recommendations for him down in the 305?
I was not aware of it during the game, but certainly afterwards. And evidently my coaches are very well aware of Dave and Barstool.
I have to ask also, do you ever heard of Danny Boy Kane?
Can you say that again?
Have you ever heard of the name Danny Boy Kane? He's like a super fan of Miami sports. Like he probably thinks he's the head coach of the basketball team, the football team. Have you ever heard that name in passing or no?
Yeah, I've been wondering who I've been getting those text messages. Yeah, honestly, the answer to that question is no.
All right, that's all I have to ask because it's
It's a good question. Yeah, he goes on Twitter.
He's a legend on the internet.
Yeah, he's one of the biggest super fans of Miami on Twitter. He does a Twitter Spaces every single game, and the Canes fans love him.
What is Twitter?
So when I think of mid-major basketball and successful runs in the NCAA tournament, the first thing that comes to mind is George Mason in 2006. How does it feel to be kind of that guy that opened that door to the smaller school making a Cinderella run? Because we've seen first-round tournament upsets. We've seen teams make the Sweet 16. But when it was proven that a team like George Mason could go to the biggest stage in the sport, you're kind of a trailblazer in that. What does that do? What do you think that run you guys went on did for the future of the sport? Because we've seen Loyola go on it. We've seen Butler in 2010 when they were a mid-major.
Yeah, I think John Feinstein. Do you guys know who John Feinstein is?
The Baltimore guy, right?
DC. Yeah. John is a fantastic writer, and he had actually written a book that talked about the Final Four was really only for high majors. And when we made the Final Four in 2006, John had breakfast at my house and talked with me and my wife. And he said, I'm going to have to rewrite the book now and add a chapter. But basically, going into that season, we knew we had a great team. We had 5 starters returning. We had 2 great low post players. We had 3 great perimeter shooters, 3-point shooters. And we felt like we could really make a run. I mentioned Bob Rotella, the sports psychologist, so I brought him in to speak with the team in October because I wanted to know how the players thought of themselves. Did they think we were that good? And during the meeting, Lamar Butler, who is a fifth-year senior, a great player, great shooter, the number 1 3-point shooter in George Mason history, Bob Rotella asked the guys how good they thought they could be. And Lamar Butler said, I think we're good enough to get to the Final Four. And so the guys had a tremendous amount of confidence in their own abilities, yet no one knew that. No one believed that. None of the experts who, picked the field for the big dance, none of them thought George Mason would be in there. And when we did get selected by the committee, a lot of the expert blasted the committee saying, these guys play in the CAA, they're no good, they haven't proven anything.
Sounds like
so. The big dance gave us a chance. March Madness gave us a chance to show that we had a very, very good basketball team. It's not saying that we couldn't have lost to Michigan State or Carolina in the first 2 rounds. We had to play great those 2 games to advance. And then to beat Connecticut, a lot of people thought, it was a miracle. But for us who were in the locker room before the game, listening to Will Thomas, who hails from Baltimore, went to Mount St. Joe, played against Spalding that had Rudy Gay. And he said, hey, I was 7-0 against Rudy Gay in high school. I'm not about to lose to him today. And all the players, and Will is a very serious, competitive guy. He gave a lot of his teammates a lot of confidence that we could beat Connecticut. So, it was a great run. It did open up mid-major coaches' minds that it could be done. It's like the 4-minute mile. The moment it was broken, other athletes said, hey, if that guy can break the 4-minute mile, so can I. And eventually a lot of guys have done that.
I got a question about your playing career because you played at Providence, right? And then you got drafted. Yeah. You got drafted, but you just I didn't even know there was 6 rounds in the draft back then. But it says you're 10. Yeah, you got drafted in the 6th round, and you said no, went straight to coaching.
Yeah, I wish it was that simple, but no, it wasn't. First of all, there were only like 16 teams in the NBA, and there were 10 rounds. And it wasn't an extensive scouting like there is today. You know, a lot of NBA franchises have a whole scouting staff all over the country watching college games and breaking down tapes afterwards. Back then, there were 10 rounds, and there was like almost tryouts at rookie camp. So I got drafted by the Detroit Pistons. I went out to Detroit and tried out with them with 60 other guys. It was a madhouse. Now, probably not that many, but still a lot of guys. And they cut a lot of guys. I never did get cut, but I went. I was asked by the head coach, Butch Van Bredekoff, to meet with him. And at the end of rookie camp, he said to me, "How come you didn't hire an agent?" I said, "I didn't think I needed one. They sent me a contract. I signed it." Yeah. He said, "Well, everybody else had an agent, and the guys that are here have no cut contracts. I can't cut them. You need to go to the general manager, Ed Coyle, and talk to him and see if he'll guarantee you some money to stay, because I'd like to keep you." I went to Ed Coyle, who was the general manager of the Pistons motor service. I mean, he was not a basketball guy. He was just a business guy. And he had no interest in guaranteeing me any money. And Terry Holland, the head coach at Davidson College, offered me the assistant coaching job. And so I left Detroit, and my wife and I packed a U-Haul truck and went to Davidson. I started my coaching career because I was going to eventually get cut by the Detroit Pistons. There were too many no-cut contracts for me to make the squad.
Yeah, you might as well cut yourself so you never got cut.
True.
With George Mason and the run you went on, is it something with like the Virginia area, that the DMV area? Because you like Jake mentioned, VCU goes on a run. We've seen Richmond go on a run in the NCAA tournament. Is there something to that DMV area about? Because you hear it all the time in broadcasts too, with he's a New York point guard, or he's a Baltimore point guard, whatever, a Philly guy. Is there something really true in the regional aspect to it?
I definitely think so. Our goal when my staff and I arrived at George Mason, it was April 1st, 1997. I made the announcement that our bullseye was the DMV, and we were going to recruit everybody we could out of the DMV. And I think the District of Columbia and the WCAC is the best high school basketball league in the country right now. And there's so many players in Baltimore, DC, and Northern Virginia that we were going to scour that area looking for the best guys. All the people that I spoke to, friends of mine, said, "Well, you'll never beat out in recruiting Georgetown, Maryland, GW. George Washington will get guys to the A-10 before a George Mason will get anybody to the CAA. You're going to be a very mediocre college basketball team if that's the direction you go in." We didn't listen to my friends. We listened to our thinking, and I listened to my staff. And the Final Four team had 8 guys from the DMV. Their families came to games. It was a very close-knit team. Guys from Baltimore, from Aberdeen, Maryland, from Northern Virginia, Chris Fleming, Lamar Butler from Oxon Hill, Tony Skinn from Tacoma Park. I mean, Silver Spring, Follering Campbell. All of these guys were terrific high school players that were very heavily recruited. And we were very fortunate to have some success in recruiting them. And they made a great team because they were all so smart and so skilled. We just weren't very big. You know, Jaya Lewis is about 6'5", and Will Thomas about 6'7". Those were our biggest guys. So, yeah, Chris Fleming probably 6'7" or 8. But we were not a very big team, but we were a very skillful and very smart team.
Coach, I got one more for you. Of course, Miami and Coral Gables. How much of a worry is it, if at all, that there's plenty of other things to do in South Florida? The weather's beautiful. Is it sometimes a focus issue with the players in terms of, all right, maybe I can just go to the beach and take a day off instead of getting some shots up?
I think most of my players are like me. I've lived in Miami now for 11 years. I've been to the beach twice, and Both times were to take my grandchildren. I have no interest in the beach. I love basketball. I love coaching. I want to be in the gym with my guys. The guys we recruit are very much the same way. They're gym rats. They love to be on campus. They hang out with each other. They're a very close-knit group, and every chance they get, they're in the gym. I had to tell Isaiah Wong he needed to be careful. He was like in 4 different gyms a day, every day during the summer. He'd come to our practice facility, then he'd go to a high school gym to shoot, then he'd go to some other place. He was always playing, and that's pretty much the philosophy of our guys. We want to play after college. We know we have to improve. We know we have to get really good, and they spend most of their time hooping.
I agree. I don't like the beach. I don't like the sand on me.
Don't like sand. No.
I just feel dry after. It's awful.
Yeah.
Seagulls all around. No thank you.
Yeah. Well, Coach, we really appreciate the time. That's Jim Larranaga, the Canes in first place in the ACC, hosting Notre Dame on Wednesday. Good luck the rest of the season. We'll be following along.
Okay, guys. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, that was Jim Larranaga. Thanks again to him for taking the time after a big road win at Georgia Tech. Marty, you got to be a little worried of them. They're in first place right now. They already beat Duke. Do you think they have what it takes to hold that lead the rest of the season?
First place. You say first place very easily. It's like they have this. They have 2 losses. Duke's got 2 losses. They just have it over the head-to-head right now. So don't give me that.
The head-to-head could go a long way.
Duke will win the ACC, but I do agree with them. I mean, Coach is right. The ACC is very underrated. I knew exactly what I was talking about. Thank you guys.
I had
it's
to
good to hear.
my tongue on that.
You guys. I'm gonna talk to both. You both are pussies. You didn't You didn't come up and say, "Hey, Coach, it's kind of dog shit." When Big Ten people come on, I'm saying you guys kind of shit, don't I?
Do they even have a reason to?
No, last year when I came on, I was like, "You guys."
Okay,
yeah, I'm just gotta say, you guys were a little bit of pussies sitting there.
I could have pushed back a little bit on that one.
I was in shock.
I didn't have to push back because he's right. I mean, it's just these teams are beating up on each other. It's brutal out there, man. It's fucking brutal.
They're they are beating up on each other.
It's great, bro. Sometimes I look at the box score because I refuse to watch the games of the ACC unless it's Duke. It's like I can't believe they're like Florida State losing to who they just lose to.
Virginia Tech yesterday.
Yeah, Virginia Tech yesterday. It's like, what the fuck, man? I don't know what to think anymore.
Syracuse smokes Wake.
Yeah, it's
after losing to Pitt.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I said it last Monday, I think. Whenever Louisville played Virginia, I was like, we need to be allowed to flex college basketball games out of national TV. Now that football's over, we can't have ACC on the big Monday at 7 o'clock anymore.
No,
we need something different.
I don't know, man. It's
you want to watch Virginia 6 times on Monday night, just by itself?
Riggs, you don't want to watch Duke lose in a standalone game tonight to Notre Dame?
There is not going to though.
I will watch.
They're not gonna lose. They're not gonna lose to Notre Dame. It's gonna be a good game though. I'm excited for it.
Yeah. So shout out to Coach L. It's unfortunate he didn't know who Danny Boy Kane was, but
yeah. He doesn't. He's old, man. He doesn't know. My grandpa wouldn't know about Danny Boy Kane retiring because of a bear, allegedly. Not Danny. Don't come after me.
Do you think Miami has an assistant coach that just blocks Danny Boy Kane from Larranaga stuff?
Probably,
so he's like, all right, here are the list of crazies. We're just not going to let Jim interact.
Yeah, no, these coaches have if you are a coach in Miami, your sole job is to keep Danny Boy Kane out of the line of sight of the head coach. That's your only job.
It's like the whole new back coach in football.
Yeah.
There's always a guy that's grabbing the head coach from the sidelines.
Yep.
That's what you need at Miami, just specifically for Danny Boy.
Yeah. Thanks again to Coach Larranaga. Home against Notre Dame. That's a sneaky good game on a Wednesday night. And then at Virginia.
That's tough for Notre
weekend.
Dame.
Yeah, 2 big games in 3 days.
Monday,
first and
Wednesday.
second place. I know Rico really
that could
wants
swing.
to
Now
play on.
That could swing Notre Dame being a tournament team. If they win these next 2 games, I would listen to that.
Let's just bring it up. We gotta talk about that.
About Bray?
Yeah, because it's obviously now it's we've gotten so many people on. It's not even that. Bray's awesome. Whatever.
Yeah.
So Bray has been Rico's like
White whale.
white whale, which I don't, because he read his fucking book. Or if Rico reads your book, he thinks it's like you're a god. That's literally what is what it's about. So he's some nutbag gave Rico Bray's number, and
That's a mistake.
bro, he texts Bray non-stop of just like, we're like, let's get him on. Yeah, it'd be great. And he said, so Bray said yes. He says, let me know like a certain time, like in like 2 weeks or something. Rico texted him 64 times after that. And it's like, Bray is like, obviously didn't answer all the time. So I don't think he's ever going to come on anymore.
I got a bone to pick with Notre Dame. They had 2 guys. I won't out their names. They have 2 guys on the roster now who were supposed to commit to Notre Dame through Barstool.
Really?
And then just straight up ghosted us and did it with overtime instead.
Scumbags. I'll tell him.
One guy was supposed to was going to do it with Dave, like a pizza review commitment, and another guy was just going to do it like shitting back and forth, and then like in the blog.
Yeah, I mean, let's.
They just ghosted us. So
I almost want to put a
Notre Dame.
clip out there, being like, for these recruits, do it with us. I'll make a fucking big stink. Like, you think anyone else is gonna care where you're going? Come to us. We'll make it a fucking parade, and I'll announce it where you're going.
We should do like a signing day in the off season, just like 3 straight weeks of episodes of guys committing to any school.
You want me to like mid majors? Come do it with us. I'll fucking put anyone to
We
go
got a
to
Sam
fucking
Houston State hat here and a Texas A&M Corpus Christi hat here.
And
And come in the office.
I
Yes.
actually think that would be funnier than like a top 5 recruit commitment.
I
through
kind of want
Barstool.
D2s and D3s coming too. I want them all.
Yeah, like
JUCOs.
you want to go to Mary Washington or York College. Or
I
you
can
want to
see
go to-
myself getting addicted to starting to tell people where, like, to let everyone know where they're going. I'll get very addicted fast.
I will send the fax for you. We got a fax machine at the office.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
people still fax.
I think you have to. For like, it's the funniest thing. I'm pretty sure you have to like fax your commitments now.
That's crazy. Yeah, so big week ahead for Notre Dame. If they beat Duke, I mean, I know it's Rico's right white whale. We wouldn't try to pursue
Yes, we
Mike
would.
Bray
I would.
if Rico wasn't back yet.
You got it. I mean, when are they going to be more relevant after that?
You think if they beat Duke, I know you don't want it to happen, but if they beat Duke Monday, is it worth sending out an email?
Yes. I'll just text him. I'll tell Rico to give me his number.
That would start some beef. I don't know if we're willing to open that can of worms.
I will.
Could you imagine they beat Duke in Kentucky? Hey, Bray, come on the show.
Especially like right on the heels of having Hurley on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know he's
Exactly.
early too.
Poor Rico.
I mean, Puerto Rico
I would
is
feel so bad,
he's
but,
going to be
like-
our puppy dog after this. He's going to say, "Yeah, whatever you guys need." That's what he's going to do.
The thing is, like, we try to get coaches and teams and players who are in the news. Like, Miami's in
Yeah.
first place. That's why we reach out to them.
Yeah.
If Bray beats Duke,
Got to do it.
it might be
I mean, an
call.
Oates might have to be soon. If Oates beats Auburn,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we're having Oates on. I mean, it's exactly what it
Who else would
is.
be on who else would be on the list of like guys like Hurley and Bray? If Rico's not on the show, you have a guest on. That'd be hilarious. Like, I think Woj obviously makes that list.
Woj would be great.
But we need Rico
If you
on
could
for
get-
that. Because when we had Fran
would-
Fraschilla last year, it was great just having them.
He cowers fast too, so that's why it's funny to see he cowers straight to him. And like Woj is a huge person I would love to see. There's really not much besides like obviously
John Calipari.
Calipari and Coach K. Like
Bryce Drew from Grand Canyon.
yeah, the
Bryce
Brian
Drew.
coach,
Jared Grosso.
Jared Grosso.
Jared Grosso.
I don't even know. Yeah, like I wonder. Like, have you ever seen Coach? Does Cal do podcast ever? Like, he's more gettable in my
No, he
opinion
just-
than Coach K. Coach K just like doesn't.
They don't
It doesn't
do media,
matter. They
yeah.
don't do media at all.
Yeah, Cal just does his own thing, and then he'll go on like
Radio.
Ross
I think he
Like,
no, not even like Rothstein. I think he does like other coaches' podcasts. Like,
interesting.
I think I saw him do one with like. Did Rick Barnes maybe have a podcast at one point? Like he like hopped on there or something, or Tomlin, something like guys like that.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've ever seen him do like or even like a Rothstein or a.
Now that
someone
we,
like that's
I'm gonna
podcast.
I'm gonna text his son soon. Just keep in good graces and
Yeah.
hey,
Never know.
want to interview? And if is your dad home?
Tough on for a question. I asked him a question at the Champions Classic. Nice guy. All right, let's wrap up the show with
Say nice
beating
guy.
beating the buzzer and our love fate. But before we do, we want to introduce the mobsters to Wood, a new men's grooming line offering products across hair, body, beard, and shave. With Wood products, you'll look your best, smell your best, and feel your best. Now, all you have to do is live your best. Wood is for the guy who knows that his best life doesn't just come to him. He has to go out and find it. Wood works and smells as good as it looks. There are so many fun named scents. Golden Hour, Summer House, Fresh Tracks. They're all fantastic. Marty, you use Wood?
I use Wood. I have Wood for everything. I got the shampoo. I got the conditioner. I got the body wash. I got the beard oil. I got every single thing. It's funny as a guy, like when you're growing up, no one really tells you to take care of your face, your hair. They tell you nothing. You see like a girl, how much they put on their face, like to moisturize and like take care of their skin. Reason why they're way prettier and way better than guys looking, and we look old at 25. But like Wood helps you with everything. So go get Wood, and it's nice where it's like I like the packaging where it's not like
all says Wood.
Yeah, if you're not a Barstool fan, like you'd still be like, oh, it's probably a good one. But if you're a Barstool fan, it's nice to support. So go get Wood. But yeah, did you realize you're not supposed to wash your hair every day? I didn't know that.
I learned that a couple years ago.
A couple years ago, I
And
didn't
now
know that. You didn't know that? You're not supposed to wash. I used to shampoo my hair.
Like,
every time I go in the shower.
You're not supposed to. Like you're supposed to leave
it's like I do it like
2 or 3
every
times a week, maybe.
Yeah.
Then won't it smell?
No, it's like it dries out your hair if you shampoo it every day.
Interesting.
I had no idea.
That's why I lost on my hair. I'm convinced. Like that's why.
Yeah, that's it. Yep, that's definitely.
I'm convinced.
But when we do wash our hair, we use Wood. So shop Wood at getwood.com or at your local CVS. So many products, all $15 and less, sulfate free. There's face wash, there's body wash, there's hair care, there's beard oil and shaving creams. So yeah, go to getwood.com for your Wood products. All right, let's wrap up the show. Love, hate, and beating the buzzer. Marty, you want to start us off with your love, hate?
Yeah, I love this time of year because it's the time where it's like football's winding down. College basketball has 2 months of shelf life. It really
where
does.
it's the premier sport. Yeah.
Because if we're talking real, college basketball is almost a niche podcast. You know, it's like right now no one's talking about Auburn. It's the Chiefs and the Bengals. You know, whatever. But this is my favorite time because then everyone starts to get in it. It's fun debates of fucking who's an actual one, who's a fraud, who's this. It's a good time for like college basketball Twitter too. Like Saturday, like next Saturday and Sunday is awesome. It's college basketball.
Duke UNC.
Yeah, Duke
And
UNC.
I would say it's loaded Saturdays.
Oh yeah, it's the best. So that's my love. Like college basketball, it's in rhythm right now. The only thing I hate. I don't have much hate lately. That's the only problem. I've been trying to find hate, but my hate is fucking Providence right now. Because I was going to have something, but that scumbag, oh my God. Providence is my big hate right now because that could have swung my day.
Fair enough. All right, Reags.
I loved having like the break in conference play. Like Marty just kind of talked about it with how like this is now like the time the sport starts to really draw in all the casual fans. It's nice breaking it up where you get like obviously the names Kansas, Kentucky. You get Baylor, Alabama. I wish we had more than just SEC Big 12 weekend. Like I wish this weekend would have been like every other challenge. Like have the ACC Big 10, have the SEC Big 12, have the Pac-12 play people. Like have Gonzaga, Arizona this week.
Yeah.
I wish I love that we have that. I just wish we had more of it because it is nice to break it up. You always like Duke Carolina is obviously awesome. We get it twice. Like it's nice to have that Saturday where it's like, oh shit, I never see. You don't get to see Baylor go to Alabama.
Yeah, it should be later in the season. Like Gonzaga should be part of these actually a lot later in the season. Like they should even try, but their conference so bad. I don't know who else would do it. You know.
I would. They're not bad.
I mean, I'm sorry. We got to say it now. I can't hold back. It's like
BYU Pacific.
BYU, your guys are yelling at me that BYU's good. They lost to Pacific.
Listen, Pacific's good.
No,
They're
I'm
beating
not
on
going to
each
spin
other.
this one. I'm not going to spin this one.
They're beating up on each other.
Pacific.
Are you
come
doing a
on,
shtick
man.
right now?
I mean, BYU is in trouble.
BYU Pacific was
You
5
can't
and
lose to
13.
Pacific.
Yeah, 5 and 13.
can't lose
It's
to
like,
Pacific.
and like, I'm not even, like, I know this is my one non-shtick. This is my one. The WCC is just not good.
It's better than usual.
Better than
that was
usual,
what I've been
sure.
saying since the beginning.
Sure.
And the line we set was 2.5.
BYU's in trouble.
I don't know about in trouble. I mean, they did lose back-to-back games. If they have San Francisco Gonzaga next, they need
bad.
to win both. They need to win one, and they'll be fine. They lose both 4 in a row. Okay, they might be.
They
in
lose
trouble.
both, and then
They
you're
might miss the
really in
tournament.
trouble.
Yeah.
But that's a tough one. That's a loss you simply can't have. Yeah, I was watching the end of that game too. Pacific did everything to throw that one away.
They don't know how to win
They're
basketball
5 and
games.
13.
There's
They're 5
a
and
reason
13
why
for
they're
a reason.
there's a reason why when I bring up the WCC I always say Pacific.
Yeah. Also, BYU did a Chris Webber. They didn't get caught. The guy called the timeout, Barcelo, I think, and they called a tie up.
Yeah, I saw that
They
actually.
didn't have any.
So that
timeouts.
leads to my that's a good transition to my hate, because I saw it in the Louisville Duke game. I just hate college basketball refs. Like the guy in the Duke Louisville game who made the walk call was just so excited to make it.
They
and
take, like,
started
3 steps.
dancing down the sidelines.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, just call it. And like, I hate it because more than anything else, more than any other sport, refs are dictated by like home crowds in college basketball. And I think it leads to like bad calls, obviously like the charge calls. Like, I saw it was in the Xavier Providence game. They called a blarge, a charge and a block at the same time. Both guys got it can't be both.
No.
Like
yeah.
it just bothers me. Like, as much as I love this sport, the biggest problem is also in the sport, where how many times, especially like you just see like people complaining about, like, we talk about guys with 3 fouls in the first, half or whatever, and it's like they might have committed 1 foul, and it's like,
Right.
can we just do something to mix this up here? So that's my biggest complaint still.
That's fair. All right. My love is seeing the return of St. Bonaventure legend Marcus Green's shorts
Yeah, that was sick.
when he was inducted into the school's Hall of Fame.
That was my
sick.
second. I had that one written down.
Yeah. I mean, that's an all-time picture. Big Cat always tweets it out whenever he bets on the Bonnies. It's just so funny. It's like, it reminds me of the suit picture of the NBA draft in 03
The
with
03
LeBron.
NBA draft.
Yeah, it's like,
Kirk Heinrich looked like he went into his dad's closet and
Yep.
got a suit.
it's just unbelievable.
It's just an icon. Like, I tweeted it. It's not even like an iconic sport. It's an iconic sports picture, not even just basketball.
Right, you don't have to
Because it
care
sums up,
about
like-
basketball. Just see how funny those shorts
Like
are.
04, I was a junior, senior in high school. Like, I look back and like we all wore shorts like that. Like, how the hell did we even dribble?
It's
Yeah.
smart. That he should have been doing that. Like,
Plays into it.
he's smart that he brought that.
Yeah, that was awesome. And I also love that March Madness promos are here on CBS. That song,
Yeah, that's
that was my ringtone in
with
middle
the
school.
with the
so,
New Orleans dance and everything going
Of
on.
course it was.
Yeah. Yeah, not a shocker. And then my hate, and I know Marty's riled up about this one. So, the end of the UConn DePaul broadcast, our interview with Dan Hurley was referenced by play-by-play broadcaster Lisa Byington, however, not credited
I would
on
like
Fox
to.
Sports 1.
I would like to clip this.
Fox
Jake.
Sports 1.
Yep.
You should have just said on a broadcast.
Yeah, on a brook. I don't know. I don't know that channel. I know the games are always played on there, but I'm not sure that channel. I want this clipped to what's her name?
Lisa Byington. Great
Lisa
broadcaster.
Byington.
She's done
Sure.
great things for broadcasting.
She
First
sounds
female
great.
to call March Madness last year. The boys.
All right.
Bucks.
You don't got to keep giving her compliments. She's relax, Jake. All right. I mean, good for her. She's good at her job.
Yeah.
Sure, but she's not that good because she didn't
She's part
say.
of your hate, Jake.
Yeah, you're part of your hate. You said you hate her.
No, there's a difference between the
I
person
don't know.
and the
Just
situation.
saying, I don't know, but I'm going to say
I
this.
heard hate. I heard hate.
I couldn't even recite what she said about what Hurley said on our podcast. I forgot he even said that. She knew word for word. And I'm okay with, like, at least say bench prop. I don't even care about the credit, but the funniest part was, like, how she was, like, she's at the end, she's just like, I will say this was not like a normal podcast. It was very vulgar, and I was like, my first thought was that scumbag Jake was saying curses too many times. It's like vulgar is such a bad. I said fuck, lady. All right. So I want you right now. What's your name again?
Lisa.
Lisa.
Lisa Byington.
Lisa. Just say Barstool bench swap. That's all I say. But yeah, you're great at your job. Sure. Jake made that very clear.
The best of the vulgarity was all like Hurley.
Yeah.
It was just like Hurley.
Honestly, he got me more like Larranaga. I didn't even say one curse. I don't think I was because I felt like I needed to respect him. And like Hurley was like, if I didn't curse, he'd be mad at me. You know, he was like,
right.
It was exciting.
Yeah. So I'm a big J. I like to credit my source. We just would hope we get the same in return. That's all. Last year, Carter Blackburn of CBS, the Mac McClung interview.
Yep.
We got the shout out. It was awesome.
For sure.
Yeah, so that's my only issue with that. All right, let's wrap up the show. Beating the buzzer again. It was a loaded weekend. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Oh, actually, before we get into that, we talked about the end of Providence Marquette. Also, Purdue Ohio State finished while we were recording.
Yeah.
Ivy's game-winning shot. When we started recording, I think Purdue was up by 12, and then I saw on Twitter after we recorded they hit a game winner with a second left. I mean, this game doesn't do much for me on either side. Purdue should have won it. If Ohio State wanted to be a different conversation. Reags, I know last week you were still iffy on Purdue. Is that still the case?
I'm just worried about their defense. Like, I was impressed the first half, the first 30 minutes, and then you're at home blow a 12-point lead to where you need Ivy to bail you out. Like, I'm still buying them. I still think they're good just because that offense.
You gotta buy them. You gotta still buy them for sure.
But I'm just so concerned about that defense. Like, what happens when they play on a neutral court in like a Sweet 16 game, and you need to stop? Can you actually get it?
I like Ohio State. I like them. I don't think they're like
Liddell's so good.
Liddell could keep you in a game at any point. That's the thing.
Duke respect.
No, I don't even think it is. I really don't. I didn't think they were going to be that good this year, honestly. And then they have showed a lot more. I'm not saying like put a future on them, but like I don't. They can take some games in that. If they get on a roll in the tournament, I wouldn't be surprised.
They can be the 6th seed. If let's say they lose a couple games, they could be like the 6th seed that beats a 3 in the round of 32 and gets to a Sweet 16.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I could see that 100%. Yeah, but Purdue, 3 wins in a row now. They go to Minnesota. Ohio State, meanwhile, a couple of home games coming up against Iowa, Maryland, and then at Rutgers, at Michigan. So, yeah, but they'll obviously make the tournament, probably be a single-digit seed.
They could get hot here with that schedule. That's not a brutal schedule.
No, it's definitely – they only have 4 – they have 4 more road games at Rutgers, at Michigan, at Illinois, at Maryland.
Yeah.
So 3 of those 4 teams – yeah, 3 of those 4 road games are probably not tournament teams if it started today. So they do have a favorable schedule. So that's something to monitor if you like them. 13-5 overall, 6-3 in the Big Ten. So that was that. All right, beating the buzzer time to wrap up the show. 3, 2, 1. This also has to do with Purdue. On Thursday night, they beat Iowa by 10. It wasn't Edie Williams, Ivy, or Stefanovic, but junior Isaiah Thompson, career-high 18 points. I mean, those 4 other guys are household names. Isaiah Thompson, if he can do this, look out.
Yep.
That's why you buy Purdue. What we just talked about.
Depth, yeah.
They have depth, and they just kill you offensively.
100%. USC ended up coming back on Saturday night, but they did lose to Stanford on Thursday. The Cardinal have 6 quad 1 wins. They lost to UCLA, but USC, I feel like 2 weeks ago I said it, all right, it's a 3-way race in the Pac-12. Now it's a showdown between UCLA and Arizona. It seems like USC is falling out of that tier 1, no?
USC's they
100%.
are, but Stanford's their kryptonite. Like they just can't beat them.
Is Stanford what we all thought Oregon actually was going to be this year? Like that.
Oregon was supposed to be better than 500.
No, but I'm saying like Oregon started to get hot, like a couple weeks ago, and we were all like, all right, time to be back in on Oregon.
And I mean, they're not.
Should we just say like that's Stanford now?
Oregon's still like they're 6-3 in the conference, I think, and they're. I think you're right though. I think that's Oregon. If you swap them of their records, I would be like, oh, that makes sense. But yeah, I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, Oregon in late February they have Arizona, UCLA, USC 3 in a row, 2 at home. So that's their ticket to the dance probably if they can win out.
And Stanford still gets UCLA at home. Like
Yeah.
Stanford might make the tournament.
Yeah, they definitely can.
They can be a bid stealer for sure. On Thursday night, a couple of buzzer beaters. Santa Clara over BYU. We mentioned BYU. Then UTEP over FAU. That's for the list. But
Sick.
yeah, shout out Boca. Thursday night, St. Mary's 72, San Francisco 70. The Dons blow a 23-point lead at home. The Gales in second place, another quality win.
That's bad for you guys.
That they're beating up
Yeah,
on?
since I was on San Francisco -2, it was extra bad.
That's bad. But yeah, like San Francisco needs that win because St. Mary's is like,
I think they're still going to get 3 teams somehow.
sure, but I'm saying like the St. Mary's is 2, pretty much, right?
St. Mary's had a better non-conference than
Yeah, St. Mary's 17-4. Like,
Yeah, like they're the 2, so that's a 2 to get in, and then it's
one
like
of San Francisco or BYU.
yeah, but San Francisco wins that game. They're pretty much like getting in soon, but I don't know. It's
Yeah.
getting a little dicey.
If San Francisco wins that means they at least have you could start splitting because they lost to BYU and Gonzaga. If you beat St. Mary's, and you at least have the top 4 teams have all played.
Yeah, exactly.
Outside of the other 3 teams outside of Gonzaga all have a win, so that matters.
Right. Also, an ugly score in the Missouri Valley. Loyola Chicago beat Southern Illinois 44-39.
They should both be suspended next game.
That's Missouri Valley basketball. That's what I think of
39.
with MVC.
Yeah.
That's hard to do.
It is. UAB beat Western Kentucky by 3. Andy Kennedy's team. We've been told we should have him on.
He's awesome.
Yeah. They can
He's
be
awesome.
that Conference USA team you were talking about earlier, Reags.
Yep.
They play a 4 seed. Scary.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know you're not a mid-major guy, but that's one of
Sure.
those teams. Tulane transfer Jordan Walker, 21 points. Wisconsin beat Nebraska and Minnesota this week. Pretty lighter schedule, but again, I was wrong about Wisconsin. Need to throw that in there every single episode. Friday, Boise State 68, Fresno State 63 in overtime. Second longest winning streak in college basketball. They've won 14 straight.
Well, Auburn's won.
Yeah.
Boise State, yeah. I mean, I remember I was watching a lot of Boise State early on when they played in the Charleston tournament or whatever it was, and their offense was atrocious. They're actually scoring now, so good for them.
Yeah.
Although they did beat San Diego State 42-37 a couple weeks ago.
Right. Yeah, we mentioned that last week. And then also a surprise game in the Mountain West. Friday night, Colorado State. They had lost one game before this one. They lost to UNLV by 14 at home. I know that's one of Rico's teams too.
Yeah.
Bryce was it Bryce Hamilton had 45 points for UNLV?
Yeah, Bryce Hamilton 45 points.
Ridiculous.
So they're 16-2. All right, Marty, you want to get your Duke taken? So they beat Louisville 74-65. AJ Griffin, phenomenal. Louisville played hard.
No, they were in it. I wasn't worried about them losing at any point, but you said it right there, AJ Griffin. When AJ Griffin, he's what Paolo's going to do. Keels is, I really need Keels to be back, honestly. But Keels, you'll know what he's going to do. Wendell Moore has been actually okay. He could have a shitty game you can't worry about. But AJ Griffin, when he goes, that team, I don't think it's very hard to beat them when he goes. Yeah. He's disgusting. And Mark Williams is an X factor too. His defense, he was playing great. Him blocking that 3-pointer at the end too was awesome. He's good. So
half court, halftime or not half court, but pretty close.
0.6 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you worried about their shooting? They made 6 threes. Griffin had 5 of them.
No, that's the thing. Think about in the beginning of the season, they didn't even have him. They had no throw. Paolo isn't that good of a 3-point shooter. He can hit it. Wendell Moore gets lucky half the time he hits threes. It's
and I know Joey Baker's a good shooter. I still don't think I've ever seen him make a shot in my life.
No, he's the best practice 3-point shooter in the world. And when he plays in the game, he's had one game this year. He's had good. I think he had 3 threes, and it's if he could shoot, it'd be great. But yeah, no, Griffin. That's what I'm saying. When Griffin shoots like that, it's gonna be tough to beat them. But he's not gonna shoot like that every game.
Right. Also, one more note from Friday night. This was a cool thing I saw on Twitter. Ohio beat Buffalo by 21. Senior forward and part of my take listener, AW Ben Vanderplas, he tweeted us he got a double-double. Then they went to Wignuts in Buffalo. That was their post-game meal. So
nice.
That was pretty cool. Let's just cluster together the rest of the SEC Big 12 Challenge. So TCU beat LSU. We mentioned Auburn. Arkansas beat West Virginia. Florida beat Oklahoma State, Texas Tech over Mississippi State. I might be missing one more, but which one of those games sticks out to you guys for better or for worse of those teams?
LSU losing is probably the biggest thing.
Yeah, they've been pissing me off, man. I think I agree as well.
That or Arkansas winning.
Yeah,
They're
I was
a
going
little
to
hot
say
now.
Muss Bus is fully back.
Muss has got to stay in the sling.
I feel like
He's gotta stay in the sling the rest of this
Rico.
game.
I'm texting them nonstop. I'm like, this is awesome. You guys are so back. They're good, man. They're back. They're not. They're back, but they're not like. I'm not saying that they're gonna win the fucking national
They're
championship.
not back to the right. They're not the preseason hype level.
No, but they are putting it together. But you can see
figuring
see the confidence in the players as well.
Yeah, 100%.
But I've said it again. I'm so sick of hearing. Just wait till us. Like Pinson's not there. Well, he's not there. That's just your team right now. He's not there. I don't know when he's going to come back. You're not playing
4 to
well.
5.
You gotta fucking figure it out. 4 or 5, no matter what.
Yeah,
They have
I think they're
wins,
I think they're decent, but even with Pinson, their offense, like they got lucky a lot of games. Like their offense is just trash.
Yeah.
And speaking of lucky, I went on a rant last episode.
128th offense.
I went on a rant last episode. Everyone's telling me that Providence is lucky. Shut up. I mean, I don't know what lucky consists of. They just beat Marquette, and Marquette's also been
one of the hottest teams.
Hot, and like they beat Texas Tech at full strength early in the season. Yes, they got lucky some of the games they played early on with the teams having COVID and stuff. I've said that, but you can't keep calling them lucky when Marquette was been winning a lot and they beat them then. Like that's what I told you that too, right? Last episode they beat Marquette. You gotta stop saying they're lucky.
And people tweeted at us about what we were questioning, what the luck factor on KenPom meant. It's supposedly like how the game goes versus how the game would have gone if you played it like a certain amount of times.
It's expected wins versus outcome.
Right.
Dumb.
But yeah, they deserve their credit. They're one of the hottest teams in the country right now.
It's basically like they just win a bunch of close games.
Right. But they're winning. So in March, who cares?
There is something to that. Like there is something to that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go opposite of what you said, Reags. I think instead of LSU losing being important, I think TCU winning shows the depth of the Big 12 because Jamie Dixon has them in a chance to go back to the tournament for the first time since 2018. Like they're a team at the beginning of the season we just thought like, okay, they're in the Big 12. That's it.
Yeah, you kind of put them in Kansas State at the bottom, right? Like, whatever, they're there.
And Iowa State. Yeah. And it's like,
and Iowa State this year too with
every single team that's eligible, we said this last week, still has a chance to make the tournament.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Yeah. There's just not a bye game there. Like you just can't.
No.
You can't just say like, oh, this is a win.
I actually saw this, and I think the Kansas-Kentucky broadcast schedule difficulty in college basketball. Like they rank them, and the top 9 are all Big 12 teams.
Yep, I saw that. 9 out of 10. It was 9 out of 10.
Yeah, it's like Jesus Christ.
The Chiefs are gonna fucking smoke.
What's the score?
14-3.
14-3 already.
Yeah.
Mahomes has 2 touchdown passes.
Alrighty then. Yeah, so that was that. Michigan State, 83, the number 10 team in the country. Michigan, 67. I said if Michigan could win this game, they'd be back. No.
They're out. They stink. They're not. They can't even come close. It's Dickinson or nobody. You can't rely just on the big guy.
They're rolling a little bit.
I've honestly forgot that Michigan was even around because they had the break, the pause, and then I just literally forgot they even had.
They're 10-8. That's a lot of losses.
They had the pause. They got smoked by Illinois because Dickinson and them weren't even playing, and then they won the games they should have won.
At Indiana,
barely.
Was nice.
Yeah.
Indiana, and then they beat Northwestern.
That was also a perfect letdown spot for Indiana. That was right after
it was.
They beat Purdue,
and then they beat Northwestern by 2 points, and then Michigan State they had to win. It's tough to play at Michigan State, obviously, but yeah, I mean, they're done.
Yeah.
They have to win the Big Ten tournament.
Pretty much. They're at Purdue.
Or just win out. If they win out.
Literally win out.
Yeah.
That's the good thing about they do have teams that they
Everyone
win.
still controls their own
they
destiny.
got time, yeah.
Yeah. North Carolina put up 100 on NC State. MJ was in the building. UNC getting a little hot. They're at Louisville Tuesday before Saturday.
UNC's like a weird ass team too. I don't think
They only win at home.
Yeah.
They just can't win anywhere else.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They're an okay team.
They're whatever.
Yeah, they're fine. Crazy comeback in the Big East. Number 21 Xavier 74, Creighton 64, 29-2 run in the second half.
That was fucking nuts.
17 at the half. That was worth mentioning.
That's like, it's crazy watching Xavier. They go down by 15 in the first half every single game.
They do.
And then I saw their Twitter account tweeted after the game, like making fun of their fans for talking shit about them. They like said like, here's to like everyone in their first half tweets. And it was just a delete button getting hit like over and over again.
First half.
I was like, I kind of like that they called people.
They're so slow in the first half. You're right.
Yeah. And then a couple other ranked teams that picked up wins. Houston over UCF, Illinois over Northwestern. That was a bad beat, right, Marty? Or they had Northwestern. It was like a layup.
Yeah. I didn't have that, so I didn't really see it.
Villanova over St. John's. St. John's continues to be very disappointing. 2-5 in their last 7.
They covered though. They also like 11, right?
11, yeah.
13.5.
Texas Tech smoked Mississippi State, and the students are already camping out for Tuesday night. Chris Beard's return.
That's awesome.
And Arizona got a little dicey with Arizona State. Bobby Hurley put up a little
close in the first half.
They were tied, I think. And then we mentioned Virginia Tech over Florida State, but it's worth noting that Malik Osborne's out for the season. That's a big deal. But their Duke win could be the difference between them making the tournament. But unfortunately, it doesn't seem like they're going to be a big threat now if they can get there. And then Notre Dame, they beat Virginia. They're 7-2 in the ACC. Big one tonight.
Notre Dame is they're not like, I don't know. You can't
Nobody goes into Notre Dame and just walks away with a win.
You would know. You would know.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Yeah. So that's our show. Thanks to everyone for listening. Thanks to Coach Larranaga of Miami. Message us or tweet at us who you would like to see on the show next. This is our last show in January, so we've got 4 weeks until the best month of the year. Rico's back in what, 2 weeks? Week and a half? We don't know.
Knows. Yeah.
But if Notre Dame beats Duke, shall we reach out to Notre Dame's SID?
If Alabama and we're gonna reach out both.
Yeah.
We're going to reach out to both. I mean, this is a part of the game. Stop throwing high noon cans.
Yeah. So thanks again, Reags, for joining us. And we will see everybody. A little housekeeping note. Thursday, the pod will be released a little bit later than usual. It'll be out no later than noon, most likely. There's a couple of late games on Wednesday night. And hopefully we'll have a guest secured then as well. And yes, thank you, our producer, Jake. If you're listening at this and you're eating lunch, that means you're behind the 8 ball, because that means the first ever Barstool Bench Mob Invitational, the 3-on-3 tournament, the registration is live. It went live at noon today. BarstoolSports.com/events. Registration live noon today. It's $500 for the team. You can have up to 6 people. So that's around $80 per person if you max out at 6. That comes with 2 meals, lunch, and dinner at the after party, a drink ticket at the after party, place to be determined. Jersey, minimum 3 games.
And just hanging out, watching the games with the jerseys are also throwbacks and like actual jerseys that are like UNC, Kentucky, Michigan State, Syracuse, Duke, all the coolest ones. There will be a Barstool team as well that we just added Dana to. So a bunch of Barstool personalities will be there, including all 3 of us.
I'm coming in from Cincinnati for it.
Yeah, so it's going to be a great day.
And we watched the first 4. There's going to be a mid-major game for 16 seeds and then a solid 11 versus 11 team. And we've seen teams go from the first 4 to the final 4.
Exactly. So make sure you take off work now and sign up. It's going to go fast, so just sign up now, and we'll see you all at the registration tomorrow.
Yep. All right. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you on Thursday.